How are you, girl? And Brina, welcome back. Welcome back. I apologize, I'm a little late today. I haven't been on any platforms the past couple of days, and the streaming platform has changed somewhat. Okay, so we're going to get started. Hey, Frankie. Hey, TQ. All right, so today I want to talk about activism. What is it? Well, it means a lot of things to a lot of people. What does being an activist mean? For some, it means standing up for a belief. For others, activism means militancy and going against authority. And I, for one, am an activist. I am a proud one. I come from an activist family. I come from a family who um, had a lot to do with Operation Breadbasket. Rainbow, which is now the Rainbow Coalition, very active in the Black uh, Panthers, which a lot of people think, well, depending upon who you are, they look at the Black Panthers as being this militant group that was violent and what have you, but it was not the case at all. Um, Growing up in Chicago, um, I learned a lot about activism. Um, I was around a lot of activists. I was around my mother, who was a huge one. And for me, being an activist means you're standing up for a belief, and you are also trying to change things. And I'm just going to put in the definition of activism, and you guys can tell me if you agree with this, don't agree with it, want to push back on it. Okay, so activism, the policy or action of using vigorous campaigning to bring about political or social change. Okay, and example, there is growing activism seeking social transformation. And that's what I do, or that's a couple of things um, that I do. I had a great Mother's Day, Shelby. Thank you. Thank you very much. So yes, TQ, Los Angeles did. Los Angeles did. Okay, and A says, I'm a proud activist. My kids are many activists. But unfortunately, in today's society, um, activism is a dirty word. Um, Activism is associated with so many different things, and unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna go down that road, y'all. So yeah, this is one of these shows. Um, for some people, being woke, because yes, I am woke. which is a black term that was co-opted by by the right and turned into something dirty. Um, you know, I am woke. I have always been woke, and woke means to be aware. And I think that a lot of activists are woke. Whether you are, down there on the beach trying to save the whales, whether you're that person who is out there, you see that commercial with the guy who cleans up the beach early in the morning, and he puts all the trash in his car just to see the turtles come in from the shore. You know, that's an activist. Where you're out there trying to make sure people are using paper instead of the plastic that has done horrible things to the environment. That's an activist. What are you trying to change? What do you believe in? But some people, like I said, think that activism means militancy and going against authority. And sometimes if you are an activist, you are going against authority if they, say one thing and you're saying another, and that other is right. Because authority is not always right. Authority does not always come down on the side of right. And a lot of times authority is absolutely wrong. And that could be your parents. Sometimes your parents can be wrong. I know for me as a parent, there have been times that I have been wrong. So authority does not always mean that you are right. Nor do I believe that if the authority is not always correct, you should have to go with the flow. The law says this, or the police officer said this, or your teacher said this, or your mom said this. Just because they said it doesn't make it right, and doesn't mean that you should do it. So, yeah, TQ, one of those shows, so, let's see. Brina says, I'll start small with these litter bugs. These kids getting off the school bus. I think the curb is the trash. Okay, is all trash. Okay, so more and more, as I get older, and I get older every day. We all do. Every day we get a little older. Hey GP, welcome. You start to see things and become aware of things that just don't sit right with you. And some people are that activists where they're out there and they're marching and they're protesting or whatever. They have their signs up, whatever. Some people do it on the down low. But however, whatever activism role you decide to take, I say do it. As long as you're not hurting other people. Now, some people, see activism as violence, as an okay to be violent. I, for one, don't. I don't think that that's being an activist. I think that's just someone being violent. We all have our different beliefs, and that's fine. We all don't agree, and that's fine too. But we don't have to kill each other in the process. And you look at the activists through history, going back as far as Joan of Arc. Hey, I think Jesus Christ was an activist. That's just my particular opinion. Bro, man, well, welcome. But I don't think that like I said, you have to be violent. That's not activism to me. And we have a lot of activists in this country, in this world, who have done a lot of great things. We have the ones that are well known, and we have the ones that are not known, that may only be known to your neighbor, may only be known to their families, but they made an impact. And one thing that I strongly believe in, and again, this is my opinion, again, guys, y'all know I give my opinions. You don't have to agree with me, you can disagree with me. Let's see, A says, I'm a foot to pavement activist. I organize and I do public speaking. I will always stand up for what I feel is right. Okay. So, you know, I just think that being an activist, at least for me, I'm always going to stand up for what I believe in. I'm not going to argue with anyone. I'm not going to sit up here and if I'm, you know, standing in the middle of, you know, Fifth Avenue, you know, with a sign, I'm not going to start fighting with someone because it's, to me, it's a waste of time. But I will stand up for what I believe in. And if I can make a change for something for the better, then I will. And for as long as I can remember, I have always tried to be on the side that is right. And I've always tried to be active in things that matter, things that can make a change, things that can make things better for other people. I mean, I remember as a child when, you know, my mom was, you know, went to her Black Panther meetings and what have you, and I would see the pushing and the shoving, you know, that was going on, not by the Panthers, but by the people on the other side. And the nastiness and the vitriol that was thrown out at the people who, in this case, were trying to serve hot lunches to children. But because they had on jackets and they had their hats on, they were tilted a certain way, they were considered militants. Now, what's the difference between a militant and an activist? There's a very big difference between a militant and an activist, the way society sees them. And hold on for 1 second. I had this already up. I apologize. And I'm giving you guys the definition of a militant. Okay, so according to the dictionary, this is the definition of a militant. And again, this is not my definition. This is according to the dictionary or what. Okay, and Bro says a militant is a warrior. Okay, one engaged in war or strife. From militant, it should be used as an adjective in the political sense of one seeking change by use of advocacy of direct action. So it is attested by 1909. So in warfare. So are a lot of activists, are they militants? Or does it just depend upon what society sees them as being an activist in? I've been called a militant my entire life. On my jobs, I've been called a militant. I guarantee you, I was not going to work with a gun and knife and AK-49 in my hand. I guarantee you, I was not doing that. You know, but because of some of the things that I said and some of the things that I did, I was considered a militant. But my neighbor sitting next to me could have been doing the same thing and they weren't considered a militant. So I'll just say enough said there. Well, I'm sorry, I forgot to push send on that. So You know, is being an activist, is it being a militant? And why do some people see activists as being a militant? Like I said, Joan of Arc was considered a militant. Martin Luther King was considered a militant. Malcolm X was considered a militant. Gandhi was considered a militant by some people. You know, and for me, when I go out and I am standing up for those causes, and yes, I am one of those people who I do, you know, go down to the beach and I do protest, all the trash and everything in the water, because I do have this thing that I have seen, fish and birds and stuff tangled up in plastic and wire and stuff. And it's, to me, it's just cruel, and it breaks my heart. It really does. I'm an activist when it comes to animals, and y'all know how much I love dogs. I am that person. If you're mistreating your dog, I am that person who will go up to you, and at the risk of my own safety, will say something to you. And I am the one calling law enforcement to have your pet taken from you. So I am that person. I am that whistleblower. I have no problem doing that at all. And Bro says anyone going against the machine will be mislabeled. Absolutely. Absolutely. Always. Always. When you say things that people don't like, you will always be mislabeled. If you do things that people don't like, you will always be mislabeled. So if you are that activist, you will be that violent militant. Why is that? Power Girl, welcome. Why is that? Why do we mislabel things when you go up against authority? And TQ says you can't please everyone. You absolutely can't. You cannot. Is there anything that we can agree on that will make this world better and safer? Is there one thing? I mean, can you all think of one thing that we can agree on that everyone would probably, I would say 95% of the population would agree on, that can move the needle forward, that can make this world a better place? Because honestly, guys, I can't think of anything. I cannot think of anything where everyone will be, where the majority of people, rather, I'll say the majority of people will give a thumbs up. So that's where you have those activists that step in and help move the needle forward. Interesting question, TQ. Interesting question to GP. So I mean, let's see. Bro says societies want to put out maximum oppression while experiencing the least resistance, but that's backfiring. That's backfiring. We see that now in our own country. The maximum of oppression is backfiring. And that's where you have your activists. That's where you have your woke crowd, like me, that will always come out against people putting out the maximum oppression. Because I will give you, from my own little world where I am, the most resistant. But honestly, guys, I mean, is there anything that we have in this world that everyone or the majority of people would agree on to move the needle forward, where everyone would have a good day, where no one would be afraid to walk out of their home, where kids would not be afraid to go to school or walk to school, where you can go to work, you can go to the park, go to the beach, drive, whatever. And bro says that is where militancy exceeds activism. So you're saying, bro, that we all need to be warriors? And TQ says that's crazy. You even have to say that. I mean, it is. And this is the world we live in now. But TQ, is it the world we live in now? Hasn't it always been that world? Hasn't it always been that world? Haven't we always lived in a world where everyone was not on the same page? Haven't we always lived in a world where you have your have and you have nots? You had the people who felt they were entitled and other people who, and people that they put down. Have we always lived in a world where some people, to me, we've always lived in that world. So, bro, I go back to you. Are you saying that when you say militancy exceeds activism, should we all become warriors in order to get the needle moving in the right direction? Okay, so and TQ says the world was worse back then. You asked me, we have it good compared to the past. TQ, we do have it good compared to the past, but unfortunately, the good is still bad. Unfortunately, the good is still bad. Unfortunately, we live in a world where, we need our activists. Damien, welcome. We need our activists. And to Bro's point, hell, we may even need our warriors. Because I look back and I look back and I think about the ancestors, and we may have had it better than them. But are they looking down and saying, damn, things really haven't changed much? Because they haven't. And guys, these are things that I think about. These are things that I think about. And I find myself thinking about it more and more. And I'm probably thinking about it more and more because of my son. My son is at an age where, as an adult, he has to make his own choices for certain things. He has to do things in a split second that other people would not have to do. And it concerns me. It concerns me. When I leave this world, when I'm 100, y'all know I'm trying to make it to 100. When I 101 one day, when I leave this world, is it going to be the same the way it was? And when I say the way it was, I mean the way society thinks, the way it was 100 years ago, because it is like that now. Is it going to be the way it was 200, 300, 400 years ago? The way it thinks? Because it's still the same way. And TQ says worse. And TQ, I believe that it is going to be worse. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand why, or they understand why, but they just don't want to say it out loud. And GB says, my old man told me about the 60s and 70s. I'm very glad I was not around for that time. Well, it depends. It could have been good for some people, could have been bad for some people. It could have been a mixture of good and bad. But what's going on now? And Bro says, how do we have it better than when our children's reading levels today are worse than 1930? I mean, there's just so many things that need to be fixed. And that's where the activism come in. Now, I said something to a group of people 2 weeks ago that kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way who were in that group. That was one of those times where I was like, just keep your mouth closed. Don't say anything else. But going to what Bro said, what he said is true. But what I also said, and I'm looking at this as a whole. I'm not looking at it from a particular culture, race, whatever. I'm looking at it as a whole. And my comment was that we also need to learn how to speak. We need to learn how to talk. We need to learn how to spell. We need to learn how to write. And some people in the group that I was in, they didn't like that. I mean, I think it's a shame that in our schools, we don't have cursive writing anymore. Penmanship has just gone down the toilet. How many people know how to sign their name? How many children know how to sign their name? How many people know, and I've said this before, how many people know how to spell? There's a difference between T-O-O, and T-W-O. Whether W-E-A-T-H-E-R or W-H-E-T-H-E-R. For, F-O-R, F-O-U-R. I mean, it sounds funny. But when you're going for that job and the interviewer is asking you questions and you can't speak clearly, even if the job is just for you sitting in front of a machine pushing a button every day, you don't have to say a word to anybody. You still got to get past that interview. D, welcome. And TQ says we had to learn cursive or handwriting in second grade. Yes, TQ, yes. And Bro says in 1930, our churches doubled as a community school. Today, no one is concerned about the children in the African American community. They can't read, write, or sing. There. Yes, yes. But TQ, people use it the wrong way, and that's my pet peeve. It is. It's also my pet peeve. And not just public schools, but private schools have also gone down. Everybody's worried about how much their paycheck is going to be. You know, when I'm driving around parts of Southern Cal, I see on the school fences and the gates, you know, like around the baseball fields and stuff that's surrounding the school, and it says attendance matters. Attendance matters. Make sure you know you come to school every day. That's because schools are getting stipends if a percentage of their school population, their student population, is in school. I would rather my child be out half a year but still know how to read, as opposed to going to school every day and not being able to read. D, welcome. It's because they don't ask questions anymore. And TQ says, oh, I know. That's just the American in us. We love money. And Bro says 70% of American adults are reading on a 7th grade level or less. Bro, I can see that just when I'm on some of these social media, you know, and you go in and you read how, you know, the chats, you read the postings that people have. I understand that when you're posting stuff, you know, on social media, you're typing fast, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, come on, y'all. Come on now. And these adults have children in the home. Coach Cow, welcome. These adults have children in the home. So are you helping these children with their homework? Yes, DQ, they get money for student attendance. And A says, we love money or are conditioned to love it. Listen to the millionaire athlete speak. I mean, bro, honestly, seriously, you're absolutely right. I cringe. My mom was a teacher. And one thing that she insisted on is that my sister and I, that we speak well. Do I always speak well? No. I adapt to certain places that I am, because as Black folks, we know we live in two worlds. But at the same time, we would say something and she would say, what did you just say? And we would repeat it and she said, no, you did not just say that. And we would have to say it the right way. And I found myself saying the same thing to my son. He would say something like, what did you say? What was that? And sometimes I would make him go write sentences. The correct way to say it, I would make him write sentences 10 times. And you all may think, well, you know, damn, solid. But I listen to my son speak now, who just graduated yesterday from university. Or I'm sorry, Sunday. Summa cum laude. About to go get his master's. I'm damn proud. He may not be a multi-millionaire, yet, but he knows how to write and speak. He knows how to do cursive. Juju, welcome. Thank you. I am. I am a proud parent. And I'm also proud that, yes, my son also had the gold cord that he was able to wear with his gown, which was for academic excellence, for maintaining that GPA for all 4 years. And Bro says the reason for misfortune of American youth is the fact that no one wants to be held on the accountable. Well, Bro, I will be. You can hold me. Hey, Lou. Well, welcome. So when I look back and going back to the whole activism thing, we need those activists in these schools to make sure that our children, no matter where they are, no matter what homes they come out of, that they're on the right path. Because believe me, when I say that we have, like Bro says about, African American kids and kids in general not being able to read, working in entertainment, you would be surprised at how many kids are living in these multi-million-dollar mansions, going to these schools that cost, to these elementary schools that cost, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and they cannot read or spell. Because again, those schools is all about the money. As long as your kid is wearing the uniform, is not wrinkled, it's all about the money. Yeah, they're doing their gymnastics and they're doing their tennis and they're doing all this other stuff. Ask them who certain people are throughout history, and they couldn't even tell you. I mean, so, I just see the activism that I do again, and I'm involved in a lot of different things. Even for this podcast is sort of an activism thing for me. Because there are things that need to be taught, and there are things that need to be said. Sometimes people are afraid to say those things out loud. I'm not. I will say it. And for people who know me, know that if I said something and you ask me, Salad, I heard you said blah, blah, blah. Did you say it? I'll say, yep, I said it. And I'll say it again. I will always stand up for my beliefs. I will always fight for what I think is right. I don't consider myself a militant, nor do I consider people who are activists as militants. But unfortunately, as I said before, TQ, one thing that if if I say something and if it's repeated and if you come to me and you say, Solid, did you say that? I will say, yeah, TQ, I said it. So I mean, seriously. I mean, because this is we're getting a little bit off topic here, but TQ, when you think about it, because this is one thing that I cannot stand. I absolutely cannot stand people doing this. I absolutely cannot. People who bitch and moan about other people. And it's like, well, there they are right there. Why don't you go tell them? Oh, well, well, why are you telling me? Because I don't want to hear it. If you're going to talk about your friend's friend and then they're standing right there, why don't you go tell them? It is TQ. It is always a but. It's always but but then when you tell them that you don't want to hear it, then they get mad. Like, okay, so you're not bitching and moaning to them, but you're bitching and moaning to me, somebody who doesn't give a damn. So, and bro says, if your parents or grandparents own the company that you will inherit, you don't have to know how to read. Bro, I have to disagree on that one. I think it all depends upon who your parents are or grandparents are. Because if you inherit from me, you're going to know how to read. You're going to know how to spell. You're going to know how to speak. Yes, TQ, offended. And make it make sense. It doesn't, but make it make sense. I don't know. Oh, Ace says anything before the butt is bull crappy. Ask George Bush Jr. Oh, damn voice to text. I mean, seriously though, guys. I mean, and if you're going to be an activist, don't be a fair weather one. Okay, don't be an activist when it looks good on your resume or on your CV. Don't be an activist then. If you're not in it, in it. I understand some people, well, let me see if this is something I want to do. I totally get that. But don't go around saying that you're doing this, and this when, you're sitting at home. I mean, seriously? But again, I'm still asking, guys, because I cannot come up with one. Does anybody have anything in this world? I'll narrow it down some. Anything in this country where everyone, I keep saying everyone, where at least 95% of people would agree on the same thing to make this world better. Don't be a lazy activist. Activism is hard work. Yes, it is hard work. It is hard work. And TQ says no taxes. You know what, TQ, though? You're laughing, but I think, yeah. I think the taxes. Hey, Dreads. Equal distribution of wealth. Okay. All right. But see, bro, when you say equal distribution of wealth, can everyone really agree on that? Is that something that the entire world, at least 95% of people will, because when you say equal, everybody doesn't believe in what's equal. You're still going to have those people who are going to say, well, one for you, two for me, one for you, three for me, one for you, or you miss a turn. So even then, okay, and Lou says, asking, bro, are you talking socialism? Now, socialism means different things to different people, just like activism means different things to different people. Do you think 95% of people will agree on no taxes? I think that's a better chance than anything else, because I don't want to pay taxes. Okay, D says 95% of people on this program wouldn't. The only people like this, I say no taxes, because as far as I'm concerned, my tax dollars are not going to what they're supposed to go for. Yeah, you need the tax money to put up the new street light on Main Street. Tax money goes to help pay a lot of the public servants that are here, whatever. But at the same time, a lot of our tax money is being misused and misspent. Hell, we can't even get the money for the lotto that's supposed to go towards education. That's not going towards education, because if it would our education system be such a mess with all the money that people spend on the lotto every single day in every state, whether you're playing Powerball or your local state lotto, whatever. And exactly, Lou, to the country is in a major crisis because the money being misspent. So yes, I am for no taxes. And I'm not okay for taxes going to big stadiums. What is the stadium doing for me? Because when you put a big stadium in, it's usually in a place where underprivileged and unrepresented people lose their homes. So no, I'm not for big stadiums. If a big stadium can be, built in the middle of the Magnificent Mile or Fifth Avenue, why don't you put them there? Why don't you put a big stadium in Martha's Vineyard? But big stadiums don't go to places like that. They go to neighborhoods where you have unrepresented people and where people are usually poor. But they say, oh, but we'll be bringing jobs in. So now you're bringing jobs in for who? Who are you bringing those jobs in for? Because the people that you've misplaced, that are now miles and miles and miles away, who generally don't have a car in order to get to that stadium for that job. So who is that stadium for? No, I don't want my tax dollars going to that. And TQ says that's all what all American people say, rather rich or poor. See, Bro says to Lou, why is it that equal distribution wealth only becomes socialism? Oh, let me read this again. Why is it that equal distribution of wealth only becomes socialism when blacks are involved, where we are the criers of socialism when billionaires went to Ukraine? Bro, I'm actually agreeing with you. I'm actually agreeing with you. And to use those taxes is what I'm talking about. And Ukraine's just for someone's cover up, is what Lou says. I mean, but seriously, I don't want. Why are my tax dollars going to the Ukraine? I don't want my tax dollars going there, and I'm going to piss some people off on this show. I know I am, but I'm about to well, put it like this. My tax dollars need to go for what they are supposed to go for. If it's going to go to help pay public servants, that's fine. But you better make damn sure that those public servants are doing what they're supposed to do and they're not doing anything illegal, underhanded, or downright wrong. So I don't know, D, when you said 95% of people may agree, may disagree with me on this show. Possibly. Possibly. And Rena says, I don't either, Salad. Okay. Um, A says it's funny how the government pushes propaganda to make things bad and evil and thought of as something as other than what they really are. Right. So why should my tax dollars go to someplace like the Ukraine? Why can't they get their uh, tanks and everything from the UK? Why can't they get them from Japan? Why do they have to get them from us? And Lou, no, I don't. But if we're gonna, but we can go down that road. You look at what every administration has done since the beginning of time. Every last one of them is effed up. Every last one of them. A says it's a setup for future requests always. Rose says all of the land grabs in America between 1898 and 1920, none of them viewed as socialism. Bro, and bro has a point. Look at the land grabs in America. And actually, bro, it's not 1920. We need to move that further up into the 1940s. Because land grabs were also done during World War II. And TQ says, I love my tax dollars to help the veterans because they get mistreated badly. Unfortunately, TQ, the money for our tax dollars going to help veterans, that's not even I mean, our vets have some of the worst health care in this country. How does that happen? But when people are activists for vets, people in Congress tell them that they need to just be quiet. Mike, welcome. And Brina says, facts, we treat our veterans terrible. So, we have a lot of activists around here. And like I said, I am one. But for some of us, we're considered militants as opposed to activists. But I can guarantee you, I'm not running around here with a gun. Oh yeah. But if you look at the land grabs, but bro, I understand what you're saying about black people. But if you want to talk about land grabs, you have to go back, 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 back hundreds of years ago, because the people who were doing the land grabs between 1898 and 1920 were doing it way back then to the indigenous people. And it wasn't land grabs, it was stealing, it was theft. And I say all the way up to World War II, because you had the same thing when Pearl Harbor was attacked and Japanese people were sent to the internment camps. As soon as those people left their homes were stolen. Property stolen. And they were never able to recover from that. Just like we were never able to recover the land that was stolen from us, and the indigenous people were never able to recover the land that was stolen from them. But you are right. It wasn't called socialism then. But now, depending upon who's doing it, it's socialism. And A says, I'm called all negative terms, never anything good for being an activist. No, you aren't. So, see, great show, and she always important. No problem. No problem, TQ. Thank you for popping in. Lou says, well, that's how everyone is here and people get to enjoy freedoms and other countries don't have. You know, Lou, that's true to a certain extent, but unfortunately in this country, everyone are not able to enjoy all freedoms. There's only one group of people who can enjoy all freedoms in this country. And that's a fact. And Lou says, I read the other USA is the only country in the world where people are being taught to hate our country. Well, look at what the USA has done. Look at what the USA has done to other countries. I mean, we're the arrogant people. We go over to other countries saying, why don't you speak English? Well, why don't you speak French? Why don't you speak Spanish? Why don't you speak German? We are an arrogant people. Bro says, my point exactly. Bro, not sure what point you're referring to. And A says, an injustice to one is an injustice to all. It's always like that. It is always like that. And A says, until we clear our own backyard, we need to stay out of everyone else's. Ace, 100%. 100%. But we are always in somebody else's backyard talking about them. But then they come over here and we get upset because people don't like Americans. I wonder why. I wonder why. Bro, welcome.
Yes, when you made the point that oh, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. But understand this, America operates so incorrectly that the only way for Americans or the so-called patriots of America to defend America is to say, well, look at other countries. And half of the drama that's being played out in other countries is the drama that America took there. Understand this. The poverty in Africa isn't relegated to African people. It's relegated to Americans that have went over there and robbed, raped, and destroyed and pillaged Africa. America did that damage. And they act like Africans is just here. No, Africans are here because America know that they put them in the condition that they're in. And a lot of Africans endorsed it, and they bring them here to protect them because in their homes, they will be annihilated.
You have a point. You definitely have a point. But we cannot compare American. I mean, but bro is right. We do want to compare America. First thing we want to say is, well, look at Mexico, or look at this country. Look at the United States. Look at the United States. And people have even said, don't come over here talking about us, what we need to do in our country, when you over there in the USA, your own country, you all have done some effed up stuff. And yes, we have. So we need to get our own house in order. We need to get our own house in order before we can start talking or even comparing us to someone else. Because our house has never been in order. When this country was first formed, it was never in order. Ellie, welcome. We were never, it has never been in order. It has always been in disorder. It has always been wrong. And the activists throughout time who have tried to make a difference
Solid Blue, are you aware that socialism is never mentioned on a day-to-day in America unless it's referenced towards wealth and black people? Let me tell you why I say that. You ever heard of the Antifa? Antifa is the movement for anti-fascism. Well, a lot of fascist things are going on in America right now today. Nobody can deny that. But nobody ever really mentions socialism, because most of the countries that's waiting in the wing to overtake America militarily and economically are communists. So where do the socialism come in? Where? Like, when do we even hear about it?
It doesn't, only when it's convenient for a narrative.
Exactly.
When it's
My
convenient
point
for,
that's what my point was.
And when it's convenient for a narrative, that is when socialism becomes an issue. Minnesota, welcome. You know, guys, you know, bro, I think you were the one who said being an activist is hard. It is. It is.
Do you know why being an activist is hard? Because it is not only work that you will have to endure the ignorance of those that you are advocating for, because that's all activism is the advocation of a cause. People are advocating a cause. Well, not only will you have to deal with that, but you will have to deal with those who see you as in direct opposition to their machine, and they have historically killed your kind. You will die becoming an activist today, real easy.
Oh yeah, believe me, I've had my share of death threats, and I just want to read what Lou said to you, bro. He says, but here we are with his administration already talking about going back into Uganda civil war. Yeah, but then again, you look at here we are, here we are, but we're also, you know, in a place where we already have civil war here in this country. There's civil war against culture. There's civil war against history. Hold on, bro. You know,
yes, man.
You look at the stuff that there's civil war again in this country. You know, but one thing that I can say of all these administrations, sans one, they all have one thing in common. They all have one thing in common. And all I can say is, I'm just going to tell y'all to refer to the coloring box. They all have one thing in common, sans one. Think about that. Every single administration in this country has done something whacked. I think it's ridiculous that we stay in. See, now I'm going to a political thing that I didn't want to go to. It's ridiculous that we stayed in Iran for 20 freaking years. Never should have been there in the first place. Never should have been in Vietnam. Never should have had a lot of things in this country, but we still have them. And people are still being oppressed for those stadiums, for those high-rise condos that are going to cost $3 million per unit for to live in a cracker box. Bro, go ahead.
Are you aware of what just happened? I think it was Thursday or Friday of last week. It was the Atlanta Jewish organization leaders. And guess what they said? They said the problem with Israel, this is what they said, the problem with Israel is the inner city black youth.
I saw
And
that.
they said that is exactly where Black Lives Matter start. Do you know that sounds to me like an indirect war call for violence against black inner city youth? Because how is it that black children that have never been anywhere near Israel becomes a problem of Israel? How does that happen?
Again, you got
That's war.
to look at the narrative. You have to look at the narrative. Who is spinning the narrative? The guys, I am just saying, for me, we have to have more activists in this country. We need to have more people who are going to stand up for what is right. Because this country, this world will not survive if we do not have activists trying to make a difference for the good. I don't know. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep saying what I'm saying because I believe it 100%. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't say it. And Lou says, correct useless wars and destabilize many other countries. Again, what does that have to do with what's going on here? I mean, children can't even go to school without having to go through active shooter drill. And when you have activists talk about it, they'll do things about abortion. So they'll save your kid before they're born, but they don't give a damn about them after they're born. And yeah, I just said that. I just said that. Okay, Ellie says, search Speeda Colian, who is a brave woman I've ever seen. She is so long, even she is threatened to death, she is still fighting. Ellie, is she in Iran? And Lou says, I'm only an activist towards Christianity and nothing else. But, you know, Lou, sometimes people who, never mind. No, criminals don't care about laws, Lou. And there are a lot of criminals out there who make laws. There are a lot of criminals out there who make laws. A lot of them. They're being made right now. Criminals right now are making laws that are not just and are unfair. Hey, Dreads.
Hey, solid.
Okay, hold on, because you're everyone turn. I'm sorry, Dreads. I gotta tell everyone to turn up their sound. Okay, let's try this again.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. Can everybody hear me?
Can you guys hear Dreads?
I can. It's a struggle, but I can.
Okay. I don't know what is it with my phone. I think I may have to buy another one. Um, Activism is not easy because a lot of times when you're an activist, you're fighting people you're fighting with the people you're trying to help. For example, you just brought up, schools and active shooter drills. When people hear common sense gun laws, the first thing they think is, oh, you're not taking away my weapon. Nobody wants it. Nobody's taking anything from you. But we're saying that nobody should have to look over their shoulder when they go to the mall, when they go to Walmart, when they go to Target, when your children go to school where they're supposed to learn, grow, and be safe. No mother should have to worry about if at 7 o'clock in the morning is that going to be the last time she sees her child. The same people who yell support the troops, they're not listening to our troops when they say an AR-15 does not belong in the hand of a civilian. And I asked once, I said, if you support the troops and you respect the troops, why is it when they say that a military weapon shouldn't be on the street, you disregard that? Kind of like how they say back to blue, but those people at January 6th, yeah, they beat the hell out of them police officers. I guess it's back to blue as long as they're beating the shit out of black people or killing black people. So being an activist is hard because people are just either willfully dense, ignorant, or hypocritical and just can't say that out loud.
Okay. You know, guys. Okay. Let's see. Let me mute you, Dreads. Okay. So, you know, um, first I want to read what Ellie said. She said, Democratic Party in the U.S. are liars. No offense. I don't know about activists over there. Well, Ellie, no offense taken. I vote Democratic. Um, I think the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are both liars. I vote the what I consider the lesser of two evils. But the bottom line for me is when it comes to people like me, neither party gives a damn about me. Neither one. And they all have the same thing in common. They all have the same thing in common. So I take no offense whatsoever. But what Dred said, if you all were listening to her, what Dred said is true. I mean, people are so more upset about what's going on in the Ukraine, in this country, than people being shot in this country practically every single day. There's some shooting every single day, and to the point where we're desensitized to it because another shooting. So until it actually happens to one of us or someone that we know or someone that we love, people don't care. But we are so concerned about, well, you're giving all this money to the Ukraine. But we're not doing anything to stop people from getting killed. Why is that? Why is one party so against?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead, bro. And then I'm gonna go
Let,
to
let me
Shelby. So Shelby, I am coming to you. Go ahead, bro.
let me answer that really quick. What it is you have a special interest money group that you're tied to in the Ukraine. You got to remember when Biden was first running, they were saying that him and his son was doing dirty dealings with them. Now, on the other hand, over in America, first I'm gonna premise with what you said when you said they act as if they care about your children before they get here, and once they here, they don't give a damn. Do you know why that is? That's because they have a special place for your child from birth. And the only way they could get there is through being birthed. And that's the prison system. Because according to the 13th Amendment, they become slaves once they go through there. Understand this, the criminal arm, which is the judicial branch of the United States government of the three branches, is the largest branch of the three because it earns more money than any other branch. And the only way it can earn more money is by the production of criminals.
And bro, again, I'm agreeing with you again. Wow, this is a record here. I'm actually agreeing with bro. Shelby, welcome. Thank you for patiently waiting.
Yeah. I agree with bro. Now that's a record too. But it's also deflection. They want to deflect anything that happens over here to keep you from crap, I done lost the word. But they don't want you to have your mind on the election right now. They don't want you to have your mind on anything that happens over here at the particular moment. Just like, because if you notice, there's not a whole lot being said about the border right now. Have you heard a lot about the border right now? I haven't.
Well, actually, I have, but
Well, I haven't, so I'm not going to argue about that. But anyway, I agree with a lot that Dredd was saying. I think that when it comes down to the police officers, they should they should not have to worry about their particular firearms being used in schools. They should not have to worry about having to go to a school to get a shooter out, or to even defend these children, and to kill somebody in a school. Because 9 times out of 10, that's what it amounts to. They have to kill that shooter. And to me, that's an easy way out for that shooter. I don't like that. I think they should have to pay for what they have done to those children.
okay, but why get to that point anyway? Why not just do something about the guns? Why not?
Well, yeah, but
I understand. I understand what you're saying, but you go back 30 years. We didn't have active shooter drills. I mean, I was going under my desk because there may be a tornado. And now since I'm in California, if I'm, going, under my desk or table, whatever, it's because of an earthquake, not because I'm worried about somebody coming into a school. So yes, it may be an easy way out for the shooter, but why is the shooter even allowed? Why is he at that point in the first place? That's the problem. That's the problem. But we have a group in this country who refuses, who will not do anything about those guns. Just won't. But like I said, they'll make sure you don't have an abortion. They'll make sure that they'll make sure that, oh my God, you read that, you in Florida, that Rosa Parks, you cannot have the word Black woman in her bio. That's illegal. We're having wars against Disney? Seriously? and people are talking about the Ukraine. Are you freaking kidding me? So killing the shooter, that's the least thing from my mind. I'm wondering is why the shooter was able to get to the point of where he is now. And that's because people in this country refuse to step up and do what they are supposed to do. And when you have people like me who are activists who will get it out there, they're telling me, oh, you need to be quiet, go home, get threatened, whatever, while they're still lining their pockets.
Right. But you're gonna know the government gives a shit about anybody. Excuse my language.
No, they don't. But again, I understand what you're saying about the shooters and stuff. But okay, so.
But I mean, I agree. It should not get to that point.
I mean, it really shouldn't. We have people who get mad because you push back because you say something like defund the police, which I thought was a ridiculous statement. But yet you have those same people who are beating police officers, like Dredd said, with the American flagpole, the flag that they're supposed to honor so much. So let me ask this: those people who honor flags, how many are riding around with a flag on their truck, which is against the law and disrespectful to the flag? How many people have pictures or the American flag as T-shirts and bandanas, what have you? That same flag that you're supposed to honor for this country. Nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. Hypocrites, every last one of them, a bunch of hypocrites. So you get the guns out of the way of the shooters before the shooters get shot. Shelby, did you want to answer?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I mean, or do you want to just answer to what I just said, or it wasn't a question, it was more of a rant?
I agree. I think it's tacky when you put the American flag on your truck. I think it's tacky that you have and yes, it's a hypocritical thing. I agree. But it's, there are stupid people in this world. And I mean, I would never do that. My husband would never do that.
But people are doing it, and they are still doing it.
You're right. They are. Now we, as as a family, would never burn the flag. I mean, that's just, we have people in our family that served in the military, went to foreign countries, were serving in Vietnam. We had family members that done that. So, I agree to, that they never should have had that war. But I don't know if you remember in our interview, I am an activist for veterans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also an activist for the elderly in healthcare, and I'm an activist for mental health. I believe that, those three subjects are very close to my heart. And I agree that, activists are looked down upon. I think we are not considered, I don't want to say people, but we're not considered, I guess that's the word I'm going to have to use because I can't find another word. We're not considered real people, I guess you could say, because it's like, well, oh, they're just activists. They're trying to fight something that's not existent, or that's a problem. But to us, these are real issues.
No, they absolutely are. And I wanted to address what Lou asked me. He says, Solid, I want to know why you're worried about Florida so much when California has way more problems than Florida ever will have. Lou, this is my problem. It's not, put it like this. Right now, Florida, mainly the governor, are passing so-called woke laws that are hurting the African American people. The fact that you want to take culture out of schools where you can't talk about, anything basically black. Your so-called laws against transgender people. That's my problem with Florida. Now, but let me make it very clear to you, Lou. Let me make it very clear. California has a lot of problems. Believe me, I live in a conservative area and I was one of the first ones here. They all came after me. Okay, they all came after I came here. California has a lot of racism. It has a lot of problems. You're absolutely right. So I'm concerned about the laws that are being passed in Florida that are being spread like a virus around the rest of the country, especially when it comes to learning. I don't want to hear that your kids, people who look like you, or I'm assuming look like you, basically white kids, are, we don't want their feelings. We don't want them to feel guilty. Well, how are people who look like me supposed to feel? How are our children supposed to feel? And these laws are being spread, like I said, like a virus around this country. So that's why I talk about Florida. This is why I'm pushing for a nation economic black boycott starting in Florida, but to encompass the entire country, where at least 35% of black people stop spending money where they are not respected, where their money is not respected, and where they are not respected as people. So Florida just happens to be on my radar because of your governor and what he is doing. And I'm glad that Disney is fighting back, because it's going to backfire on the state of Florida. And the people who are going to get hurt are the people of Florida. And you're right, California has a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And I'm addressing that also. But for Florida right now, it's because of what is coming out, the vitriol and hatred towards people of color. That's the problem that I have. So I have an investment because people who look like me live there. I have family who live there, who constantly are telling me the things that they go through because of some of these laws. That's the problem that I have. So if you want to push back on me, that is fine.
I want to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry, Shelby, go ahead.
Also, I agree with you about the Florida thing. Also about the Disney thing. I had family that worked at Disney, and she is now laid off because Disney is basically, going bankrupt.
You know what, Shelby, I'm going to say something. It's probably going to piss you off.
Oh, no.
But when the governor first did that thing against Disney, I said to myself, I hope Disney either runs out of money and they have to lay people off. Because that's the only way it's going to be a learning lesson in that state. Because I know in Orlando, Disney is a major source of income for a lot of people. And Disney gives that state a lot of money. So if Disney were to fail and people lose their jobs, maybe then those people who are losing their jobs would get on the bandwagon and become an activist and push back against the ridiculous law that was passed to rid Disney of their power. It was stupid. It was a stupid move. And now it's backfiring.
Yeah.
You're
right.
It is backfiring. It's backfiring on them. So I'm sorry that your family member has lost their job, but at the same time, point proven. And it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to happen because Disney is also cutting back on other things. They're doing things internally where it's also going to speed up the so-called bankruptcy. I don't think they're going bankrupt, but they're giving the impression that they are.
Solid Blue.
Yes.
Can I jump in really quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Check this out. Don't you know that there are podcasts on Podbean that sit around all day long? Now, this is what I was assuming. I always assumed this. Whenever they say Republican or Democrat, if they say Democrat, they are referring to black people. Check this out. And Lou just did it. If you go down to where he read, and I asked him what was the intelligence level of the black people that lived in his environment, guess what he said? They are Republicans. They're not like you. This is the type of poison that activists of black communities are facing. This is the type of people that they are facing, people who will pit Democrats over Republicans, and both of them are white. White people control the Republicans and the Democrats.
And
if
bro,
you look at
I said, what do they all have in common? That is what I said. I said,
white.
what do they all
They're white.
all have in common?
Do you know? Check this out. Solid Blue. Before there was ever a Republican, there was Democrats, right? I think it was 1924 or 1948. The Republican Party came out of the Democratic Party. They are one and the same. And the only reason they put two in front of the people was to assume, to give people the illusion that they had choice. We don't have a choice in the matter. Regardless as to who get in, Republicans or Democrats, you will suffer the same fate. They don't care about individuals. All these people that say, I love Trump, Trump don't even know they exist. And he don't care.
Well, I mean, guys, I'm gonna go to what Ace said. She said, "Solid. Let's be honest. All states have problems, but all eyes are on certain states, and one being the top watch is Florida." Ace, I am being honest, and I said every state has its problems. Lord knows, I live in a racist state. People think, "Oh, you're California, so you must, all those liberal people and da da da." Wrong. Wrong. This is still very much Ronald Reagan land for a lot of people. But a lot of the nastiness right now is coming out of Florida. But we still have problems in Texas, in Illinois, which is a blue state. We have problems everywhere, Ace, and again, I am being honest, but I'm singling out Florida because of the laws that have come out of there that are hurting children of color. Wait, hold on, bro. Oh. And the fact that my governor of California, which this is a law that I'm glad that went around the country for the most part, even though some people are still trying to go against it. Why do you have to have a Crown Act? Why does there have to be a law because of how you wear your hair? Seriously, why did my governor have to pass a law like that? How you wear your hair? Because people were being sent home from school, sent home from work because of their culture, because of how they wore their hair. And while everybody's doing all this pushback, I want to ask a question. Is anybody ever telling the Jewish people, Stop talking about the Holocaust. Are you telling Jewish people stop trying to go and get your land and your artwork back after 70 years? Is anybody telling them to stop? Is anybody telling the Jewish people to forget about their culture? No. Is Florida taking out books on Anne Frank? We can't read Beloved, which a lot of people probably have not read, have no clue what Beloved is. But we can read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn that have the N word in it so many times, it's ridiculous. It's okay about that, right? We can read the Diary of Anne Frank. But you take out the fact that Rosa Parks was a black woman in Florida. So yes, I'm talking about Florida because it's so damn ridiculous and insulting what is going on and the laws that are there. So yes, I am being honest. I'm being very honest. I'm putting the cards on the table where I think the cards need to go. But then again, this is just my humble opinion. And then Ace also says, bro, keep in mind, we don't always speak in front of those that can't understand our grievances too. Why speak when you will give your racist take? The major people who will lose jobs at Disney are Hispanics, but they are losing jobs. And Ace says, I like making Walt roll over in his grave. We all know what type of person Walt Disney was. And Lou says, actually, it's not more than that where I live, and I have always lived in inner city since I came to this country. Oh, okay. I don't know what. Okay. Let's see. I said they are college graduates. You missed it. Okay, I don't know what that is. You just catch up. Hold on, bro. I'm coming. Never understood that. And Ace, I don't think that bro is giving racist takes. I think what he's speaking is fact. A lot of it is true. What he is saying. And again, you have people who will come out and say things, and people who are afraid to say things. And bro, I cannot believe I'm actually agreeing with you on an entire show. He's actually saying things. So I have to disagree with you on that one, Ace. And welcome, Angry Crazy. So, bro.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I understood. I understood where Sister Ace was coming from. She was saying that my take would be misconstrued as a racist take
okay,
by
got it.
those
Got
who
it.
don't understand it.
Okay, got
That's
it.
what she was saying.
Sorry,
Okay,
Ace. Sorry. Please
let
forgive
me
me. I am sorry. I totally misread that.
basically with it, because me and Ace real cool. Let me just say I love her. Listen, don't you know, Solid Blue, that a lot of the times when we deal with problems like those with the taking the books out of the school and taking the courses out of the school, do you know that it might just be those individuals that's not white that's doing? Maybe it's the Jews that's doing that in Florida.
It's a
Maybe it's the
possibility.
Hispanics
It
that's
is
doing that.
a possibility.
And the reason why is because everybody who is not white is fighting for the position of who's to be the lead sympathetic individual. Who should everybody have the most sympathy for?
Well,
In the
we
Jews,
know who is not.
we know who it's not. We know who it hasn't been. But the thing about it is, the Jews may view us as gaining momentum. See, to them, if say for instance, black people got their reparations today, right? To the Jews, that might feel like we got sort of a land grab because they'd be looking at it like if they didn't get theirs, we probably could have got more. You got to understand who is the chef and what are the chefs putting in the pot. This is an all-out attack on black people from Israel, because Israel is saying that the black youth in the inner cities of America is their number one problem. And I don't understand. We never been in their house. We never drove their cars. We never go to their churches because we believe in Jesus. And if they don't believe in Jesus, even if they do, saying that they don't will stop us from going there. Because when it comes to Christianity, if you're black, you're Jesus first. We believe in Jesus more than God. We don't thank God for nothing and Jesus for everything. See, we're backwards people. And as long as we're backwards, you can play us as if we are.
Well, damn, this show went 42 minutes longer than I expected it to go. But yeah, it was one of those shows. Guys, I just coming back around to the original thing about being an activist, and everything that Bro said, what Shelby said, what Dred said. I mean, what everyone is saying. It just gives me another reason why we need activists in this country. We need activists in this world. We need people who are going to step up and speak out. But when you speak out, that you're speaking for, you're speaking for truth. You are speaking for truth. I can't get all. I mean, am I pissed off at my tax dollars going to the Ukraine? 100%. But I'm also pissed off again that we have all these shootings. I'm pissed off that this country seems to care more about abortion rights and the unborn, as opposed to the born that are already here, that are being shot. Not just children, but adults too. The ones, like I said, the ones that are born. It pisses me off that we have veterans who have fought for this country, fought and died for this country, and they come back and they got to wait 30 days just to get a Band-Aid. They have some of the worst health care in this country, but people on Capitol Hill, on both sides of the aisle, even those in the middle, have some of the best insurance in this country. So while we're crying about the Ukraine or even guns, why not talk about the health care? I mean, the same people who rant and rave about, oh, we don't need Obamacare, all this other stuff, are the same people who vote against their interests, and their states are wanting to take away Medicare, Medicaid, and all this other stuff. But I know people who now they need Medicare and Medicaid, but they talked about it. They dissed it. Let's talk about these states who are so poor and continuously vote against their interests, but voting for people who are multi-millionaires, but they have nothing. I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of my day, at least, I know don't nobody like me from either party, and from the ones in the middle and from the ones on the side. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. I know this. The other people, not so sure. You can say administration, but since the time that administrations first started, they were whacked. Because it was always someone or some group that was oppressed. And when you have to oppress a person or a people, no matter who you are, it's a problem. I'm more concerned about, like bro said about reading scores and stuff than the Ukraine. I'm more concerned that, a child can go to school and read the real history instead of watered down history because you're afraid of somebody's feelings. I don't want to feel guilty. No one's making you feel either way. If you feel guilt, that's on you. But we need activists in this country. We need people who will stand up against the establishment. And there are not a lot of people that will do it. It's all good to come on a podcast and type in the chat and all this other stuff. But how many people actually do it? Me, I practice what I preach. I put myself out there, and I will put myself on the front line. And I do. While I'm watching my back. And Juju, I don't know why you keep getting kicked out. And Lou says, politicians aren't real workers. They live off the taxpayers until we can stop that. Lou, but there are a lot of everyday people who are horrible people. Who are horrible people. Like Dred said, you care about the American flag, but you don't care about it when you're beating a police officer on the steps of the Capitol. And as Juju said, or carrying the American flag upside down. But yeah, you care about this country. You care. You care about this country. Oh yeah. And ACE, Medicaid, and Medicare, I know that's a show all in itself. So, bro, you have any last words?
Yes, Solid Blue. Let me say this. Let me ask you this. Do they really care about the flag? Do they really care about them?
Hell no, they don't.
Let me say this. The only time anybody ever expressed patriotism in the United States is when something is not going in their favor, and just to have the ability to be able to go up against whatever they're not pleased with, they express patriotism. But that's a false patriotism, because if you're patriotic, you should be patriotic at all times. It shouldn't have to be things in America that's dividing black and white people or black and Jewish people for anybody to be considered patriotic. We should be patriotic at all times if we really love America. But the truth is, America doesn't even love itself. By June 1st, America could be economically bankrupt.
Well, true. This is true. Guys, I'm just saying, there are a lot of things I'm pushing for. And y'all have heard me say it before. I'm pushing for a lot of boycotts. I'm activist. I'm an activist in a lot of different things. I'm sorry, reading what Lou says. As Christians, we all know who caused the division. That's a show that I also want to do on Christians, because right now I think Christianity is anyway. But guys, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, we need activists in this country. We need activists in this world. There were a lot of things I never thought I'd see in my lifetime, but I saw it. A lot of things I didn't think I would experience in my lifetime, but I did. And one thing that I'm think that I just may experience before I get to that 100 is the end of days. I think I very well may experience that in my lifetime just because of the way we're headed. I think we're going to be one big movie set. We're going to be that action movie, the entire world. And we're all going to blow up together. That's what I really think. So it doesn't matter if it's the Ukraine or Florida or California, whatever. Everybody's going to be running around carrying their toaster down the street, stealing somebody else's car because their car broke down or somebody just stole theirs, just to ride in that car for 2 miles before somebody else jacks them and takes the car and drives it a little bit further for that car to be taken from them. But whether you're sitting in that car or running down the street with your toaster, going into that store, grabbing stuff, we all going to die at the same time. Because I personally think God is fed up. I think he is fed up. And earthly devils do cause division. And you said, hey, I'm serious. I think that we are all we're all playing these characters in a movie. And it's going to be like Independence Day. Whether it's aliens that are going to come down, whatever, but we all going to get bloated up. We're all going to get blown away for our selfishness, for our greed, for our stupidity, for our ignorance. Because we can't seem to do the right thing. Juju, we may not have writers. We're writing everything ourselves. We're writing the script. Each and every day we write the script. And we're living the script every single day. But end of days is one thing that I truly believe that I just may see in my lifetime. So, anyway, I'm going to leave y'all with a little bit of Aretha. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. This isn't dance music. This is more thought music. So here's a little bit of Aretha for you. To Bro and Dreads and Shelby, thank you for popping up. And everyone, thank you for popping on.
Don't trouble the water. I won't get along. Why don't you let it be? Still water run deep. Yes, it do. I know that. Oh, yeah. If you only believe. street. When evening falls, so high, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes, and love is all around, just like a breeze over troubled water, I will lay me down, just like a breeze over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver, sail on down. Your time has come to shine. All of your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. But if you ever need a friend, look around and sailing right behind. You're the bridge over troubled water. I'll be there to lay me down, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. I'll be your bridge, yes I will. Don't trouble the water. Said I would. Leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Still water run deep. I know that. Yes, it do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still water. Don't trouble the water. Hey. Leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Talking about still water run deep. Yes, it do. Oh, yeah. But I'm gonna be your friend. Yeah. Oh, troubled waters. Leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Come on, walk out on me. Well, that's it, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.